Why are you asking when you don't trust it? I am not responsible for what is written on Wikipedia. Your call. Correct it. I have already said, you know you can edit Wikipedia, do you? Then नेट पे आप क्या पढ़ते हैं उसके लिए मैं जिम्मेदार नहीं हूँ. इसका है ना. ये क्या हो गया? इसको थोड़ा सा गिर नहीं जाएगा ना? ये खुल तो नहीं जाएगा? ये खुल तो नहीं जाएगा ना?
हाँ नहीं जाएगा.
फिट है ना अच्छे से?
ये फिट है सर.
ठीक. इसी ऑन कर है ना? ये ऑन है ना? नहीं ऑन है ना? ठीक. ओके चलिए शुरू करते हैं.
लाइव चल रहा है सर.
हाँ ठीक. इसको साइलेंट करो. पानी गिरा यार. कैसे बंद किया यार नहीं?
सर ये माइक ऐसा लगा लीजिए
ऐसे.
चिप ले चिप.
हाँ क्या करूँ? ठीक है. ओके.
चार्जिंग तो है ना सर.
हाँ सब ठीक है. ओके. Any questions regarding what we have discussed? Volume. Okay. So the last thing that we did was regarding this Battle of Plassey, and we saw that during the Battle of Plassey, the English East India Company defeated the Nawab of Bengal. What was the name of the Nawab? Siraj-ud-Daulah. And Battle of Plassey I am talking about. Siraj. And who replaced Siraj? No, British replaced Siraj with Mir Zafar. And Mir Zafar and there were few other individuals who conspired against the Nawab, helped the British during the Battle of Plassey. This we have seen. Now what will happen? Mir Zafar will be put on the throne of Nawab as the new new Nawab of Bengal, but under certain conditionalities. First thing, there will be huge war repercussions, huge war damages will be paid. I have noted it. I am unable to recall the correct amount. It is so big that you will need log tables. Okay, so that was taken. And then duty free trade. You understand what is duty free trade, all of you? Dastak was one of the it was a form of, anyone who can explain Dastak? And what happened through that pass? It was company could, yes, company could engage in duty free trades, but then all the officers started using personal dastaks, right? It caused huge damage to how to East India Company? Yes, the privilege was occurring to the individuals, not to the company, right? And of course to the Nawab. So he institutionalized it. The East India Company institutionalized it through Mir Zafar in several districts, including 24 Parganas, so on and so forth.
How was it a loss to the Nawab, sir? Because had the trade taken place in East India Company's name, they wouldn't have got revenue anyway.
you take a discount from a shop and you all take the discount.
So the net quantity remains the same.
No,
Whether it's in the
no, of course, sorry. The quantity would increase manifold. You in your individual capacity can do limited amount of trade or limited amount of purchase. You all can do multiple times more than what you can individually do,
Sir, but
right?
in the whole East India Company is one. All the employees are under East India Company. So trade was the dastak was issued on the name of East India Company.
No, it was to be issued. It was not. It was issued on the names of individuals.
So one dastak was issued by Nawabs. So on whose name was it?
EIC, East India Company, on the name of East India Company. However, people started issuing them on their individual basis. If all the individuals, East India Company must be having thousands of employees, okay, tens of thousands of employees, everyone is carrying a dastak. Will that match the volume of trade done by company? It will not. It would witness an exponential rise. Correct? All right. Now, Mir Zafar will be presented with many unrealistic demands, and Mir Zafar will not be able to fulfill these demands. Mir Zafar will be replaced by Mir Qasim, the new Nawab, who was the son-in-law of Mir Zafar. Now, Mir Qasim comes, and Mir Qasim starts addressing the administrative problems. Okay, he actually starts addressing the administrative problems. He like kind of streamlining the taxes, regulating reforms, so on and so forth. So Britishers were alarmed. They were like, this is not what we have brought you for. We have brought you as a puppet. Serve us, give us our monthly dose, the revenue that we want to collect, and then remain the Nawab. You are not here to usher in some reforms, to make some new Bengal or something like that. Again Mir Zafar will be called. Okay, again he will be recalled, because they knew that this guy at least did not resist us. He could not materialize things that we wanted him to do, but he did not resist. Mir Qasim used to resist. And then the decisive battle of Buxar will happen. The Nawab will go to first to Delhi, and the Mughal king, anyone knows the name? Shah Alam II. Shah Alam II was sitting there. So it took Nawab, several days to pursue him to join. He was reluctant, but then Nawab said that, also gave him some lucrative offers, that we must fight together, then only we will be able to defeat the East India Company. Then they went to Awadh. Who was in Awadh? Shuja-ud-Dawla. They went to Awadh. Now Shuja was unwilling, despite being defeated by the East India Company. Again he was made certain, he was given certain promises that if we win, you will be given this, everything we will note down. Okay. So many privileges were promised. Shuja said, okay, I am with you. So then the three Indian sides fought together, only to be routed again in the Battle of Buxar, 1764. That was the real battle, more than Plassey. Okay. Now, you know what the English said? It is time for us to become the new Nawab. Enough of these puppet Nawabs, enough of these Mir Qasims and Mir Zafars. It's time for company to become the new Nawab. And then they were the undisputed masters of Bengal. And Bengal was such a rich province. Everything was there. When I say Bengal of 1764, it's West Bengal plus Bangladesh plus Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha. Imagine the amount of resources that this particular region is blessed with. You will study this in your geography about Chota Nagpur region. Where it is? Jharkhand. It is in Jharkhand. No place in world can match Chota Nagpur plateau when it comes to resource. It has been blessed with things like no other place. Everything, you name it, is there. Imagine in 1764, when the minings were just started, now of course 200 years several things have been used and exploited, still it is in abundance. But when the doors were just opened, the Britishers were targeting, I am not talking about only resources beneath the surface, also on the surface, the flora and the fauna, the jungles of Jharkhand. I don't know whether here you have jungles. Not concrete jungles, the green ones you have. And now we have reserves and biosphere in almost all states, I guess, right? You have to remember these in your paper 3 environment ecology. They ask in your prelims. This is the worst thing about prelims. Which bird is flying in which national park? Oh, what is this? But then you have to. So, imagine the amount of abundance that was there, and company became the sole masters. Now, company was not dependent on London, although what was happening, they were favoring, the English Parliament was favoring the company, unlike their French counterparts. French East India Company did not get much from company, from their parliament. But even that, the procedural delay used to happen, because after all, the bureaucratics things take time to roll up their sleeves, right? So, even that was done away with. Now, company was whole and soul on its own. They could do what they wanted. They could get away with anything and everything. So, now slowly Mysore they will annex, Marathas they will defeat, Sikhs, to some extent Gurkhas also, they will befriend Gurkhas. Treaty of Sagoli will study. And all these Jats and Rajputs, they were not major players. They were confined to their home turfs. It was not like they were having an empire. Major one was Mysore, Sikhs, Marathas, and some areas in central India which consisted of many small kingdoms, from Jats to Bundelas to few Afghans. So, subsequently, gradually, eventually British won everything and everyone. This is how the story goes. Okay? And when the British won, they started bringing their laws. The Pitt's India Acts, the Regulating India Act. Okay? This is how it goes. Series of Charter Acts will be passed from 1813 to 53. Government of India Act, that comes very late, 1935. 60% of the Indian Constitution is borrowed from Government of India Act 1935. Okay. So, this is the entire story that we see, and then there will be reactions to it. There will be innumerable number of tribal revolts, and local revolts, tribal revolts, peasant revolts, sannyasi revolt, and in your exam they don't ask much questions from this 1857. Everyone knows about 1857. They ask about the million other mutinies that happened in India prior to 1857, even post 1857. So, that we have to very carefully study. Which region, who was the leader, and what was the reason. Region, reason, leader, that is it. 3 things you have to remember. 3 to 4 lines will complete all those revolts. Is it all right? Any question with previous discussion? And again, do not verify things from online sources. If you really want to do it, go to the archives. But then that will drain you out, because that's a whole ocean on archives. You have to really locate, you need to be apt at it, which one, which volume, which page, how to search with keywords, that will take time. Best thing is to don't research. Okay. Shall we proceed? What was the last line that you wrote?
Captured and defeated by Nawab. Nawab was captured and defeated by Miraj,
Miraz, son of Mir Zafar. Yes, he beheaded him. Anything we wrote about Mir Zafar? Nothing, right? Change the pen and write Mir Zafar. Mir Zafar becomes the new Nawab, and he has to pay how much it is? More than a crore rupees, like almost 2 crore. Note the amount as a compensation. This was cash. This was only cash. Second point, he had to grant, this was given to undisputed trade rights to the EIC. Undisputed trade rights to EIC, that is also called free trade, where Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Company will decide what will be exported, what will be imported, what will be produced. The new Nawab also had to pay large amount as gifts. Robert Clive alone got 2 million rupees. New Nawab was forced to pay gifts. Clive alone got 2 million rupees.
Who was Clive, sir? Was he the governor?
No, he was not governor, he was the commanding in charge of East India Company. And total amount Is he not there? All over India, and made them a suitable contender for the Indian Empire. Point number 3, Bengal gave them enough resources to fund their other wars in India. Next, how many points you wrote? Write more. 4th, Plassey victory enabled the company to accumulate enormous wealth. So, if you are asked a question, how did Battle of Plassey play a decisive role, or why Plassey is considered more important than any other battle? These were the reasons. Write point wise. Okay, see, in your main exam, just let me tell you some exam mantra. Gone are the days when people used to write in long paragraphs. Are you aware of your exam structure? Should I dedicate the next 10 minutes to it? Sure. Ever seen your mains question paper? No. Why not? Please do it. Just one click away. Don't upload picture one day on Insta. Okay? Hashtag ooh yeah. Now, in your exam, right now you are being asked how many questions are in your main exam in any general studies paper? 20? 20 questions. Marks 250 marks. Right? Now this applies to your history as well as to all your papers, to all your general studies papers. Same pattern is being followed since 2013. This format came in 2013, CSAT came in 2011. Right? So now what happens? And one question, how many words? 150 or 250? Both. There can be 150 word, 250 word. This would be for 15 marks. This is how it is. So if you calculate, it is almost 200 words on an average. Right? 150, 250, there is a balance. These many questions of 150 words, these many questions of 250 words. This is how your exam is. So if you take an average, that would be 20 questions, 200 words. This is the average. Right? So how many words in total? 4,000 words. How many minutes? Words per minute? 20. Let us call it 20. 20 words per minute. So try writing something for 2 minutes. Write 40 words in 2 minutes. Try it someday. See if you can write it. Try writing about yourself. You know yourself, right? Take 2 minutes and try to write 40-50 words about yourself by the stopwatch. See if you succeed. And they will not about yourself and myself. They will all ask about दुनिया जहान. मेरे तुम्हारे बारे में तो पूछ ही नहीं रहे. So, is there a time? Do you have the luxury of time in your main? That you can ponder, you can think, you can calculate, flowchart, you can prepare a blueprint, then go for the actual. No, you will miss the answers, questions. And the questions you miss, the selection is more narrowed. The chances of your selection decreases as and when you miss even one question. The idea is to attend all the 20 questions. Okay. So now how do you write these questions? Prior to 2013, they used to ask 60 marks question. If you see the old papers, you will see it. 60 marks question. Now that used to run into 500 to 600 words kind of essay. Then people had the luxury of keep on writing. The humanities students always had this advantage. Now that advantage has been done away with. Prior to this 2013 format, there were 2 optional papers. Do you know this? There were 2 optional papers, 600 marks each. Okay, 600 into 2 was your optional. There was one GS. There is a reason I am going into the old format. You will come to know about it in next 2 minutes. 600. Then there was an essay. I forgot how much was essay for. 1800 was GS plus optional plus an essay whose marks I forgot. Okay, so leave essay, focus on this. 600 marks, 2 optional. People used to take history and they could well remember what was the shoe size of Akbar. Okay, what was the waist size of Aurangzeb. You study history for 2 years, what is there to be what is there left in history? All the books, all the granth, you don't have to plug into the primary sources. No history student goes for primary sources. All they read is historians, the views, they do not read the history. So there are 7 to 8 standard books and in 2 years you read all of them. The more old you are, the time you have devoted for your exam preparation would help you, right? Someone takes language paper. You study one language which is your native language. Will there be any challenge? Telugu is there, I am sure. Of course, Telugu is in 8th schedule. People became IAS taking Mathili. Okay. Pali was there, the language into which Buddha used to preach. Literature was there. So all these subjects, why I am saying this, because all your optional used to decide your selection. People did not pay heed to GS. 30 to 50 marks of statistics were asked. Some of the art students completely ignored that part. Who will do these calculations? And why worry about GS? We know our subject very well. And then prelims. Prelims GS 150 marks. One of these optionals 300 marks. This is how it used to happen. 150 marks GS, and out of these 2, select one as your optional for 300 marks. So someone who has taken history and geography will select either history or geography. He will become PT proof. Someone who wrote mains once, which means he is having a decent amount of knowledge about the 2 optional, he will make one of those optional which he is more comfortable with as his prelims paper. Nothing could stop him. You know, these people used to ridicule GS. They just used to read monthly magazines. no polity, no history, because one of the optional was already in GS, either polity, history, geography. The other parts, who cared when you have 300 marks optional paper? Optional was important. Now GS is important. Older candidates, people who have been preparing for 2 to 3 years, always had an advantage. Now can you say that? Paper is more contemporary than ever. Even you have gone to the interview, if you don't study next year, you will miss the prelims. Never happened in those times before 2013. Okay, all of you understood it. Now the new candidates have more advantage. That's why I keep saying that if you don't know anything, it is always good. Here experience used to matter. How many times you have given, how many books you have read, how many times you have qualified PT. Okay, now these things are meaningless in the new format. It has become a more of a leveler now than what it was before 2013. Questions were very 60 marks questions, 600 words. Now they are asking you pinpointed, very to the point questions. There is a word in Hindi, sateek, to the point, be accurate. There is no room for beating around the bush. Okay, you have to choose your words very carefully. Now that calls for a re-strategization. That is why I am saying prefer writing point wise. It brings objectivity into your answer. Okay, like if you are asked why was Battle of Plassey, why is Battle of Plassey considered to be a decisive battle more than Buxar? Actually it was Buxar, we will study it very soon, which gave actual power to British. This was more symbolic. Then you will write 2 lines. How will you start your answer? That why Battle of Plassey is considered to be the most significant battle for East India Company or for Britain. Now, you will write 2 lines introducing the topic, that Battle of Plassey 1757 it happened, Nawab was defeated by this, Robert Clive was the commander. Stop. Following are the reasons. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Your 250 words will be complete. Are you understanding? And again, use flowcharts as and when needed. Don't draw diagrams just for the sake of it. But when you can use flowcharts, it will bring a lot of objectivity into your answers. The exam checker will see your flowchart and he will just put a tick. He will not even read what you have written. Okay, present your things in a very coherent and neat way. If you have handwriting issues, improve it from now. Font, keep it large, because the people who check your answer are very old people. They have eyesight issues. Actually, they are not going to use magnifying glass to read your answer. If they don't understand, they will cut it down. And don't try to be a Hanumanji. What did Hanumanji do? When he was asked to bring Sanjeevani Booty, he brought the entire mountain. Find it. This is what he told Vats Hussain, right? Don't do that. Highlight Sanjeevani Booty. Underline the keywords. Okay? You are not Hanumanji. So, highlight the important points. Underline through a different color. You do these things, you will get very good marks. Bring objectivity. Make your handwriting legitimate. Keep the font size good. Use flowcharts. Underline the keywords. There is no reason you will not get good marks. And touch different dimensions. Okay. First point should not be reflected in fourth point. That just you have played with words, you have rephrased it. No. Bring new issues. Novelty must be there. Are you understanding how you approach this exam? That's the game. If you can master it, nothing can stop you. And for this, you need to have the content. This cannot come in the absence of content. You cannot contemplate and generate content, you have to study it. Are you getting it? Hope you all have understood this. Okay, where were we? Acha, 4 points we saw, right? Change the para. Soon Mir Zafar realized that it was impossible to fulfill the growing demands of the company, because company was time and again asking for things that every time they were asking for something or the other. Give us gift, give us this, give us that, right? Realized that it was impossible to fulfill the growing demands of the company. The EIC started criticizing the Nawab. And in 1760, Mir Zafar was replaced by his son-in-law Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim was an able administrator who wanted to get rid of foreign rule. He tried to improve the law and order. Tried to remove corruption from the administration. Tried to build a modern army like the Europeans. Okay. Now, will the EIC like these things? Will he like it? Not at all. EIC will never like it. So what the EIC does? EIC says that it's time to remove Mir Qasim. Bring back Zafar. Okay. Write it. EIC was not happy with Mir Qasim's rule as Nawab. Qasim also tried to check the misuse of dastak. So he's saying that Indians and Europeans merchants will have parity. What is parity? Equality. Everyone will be equal. Equal in terms of the stock will not be given to the individuals. It is for limited use by the company. And if all the British companies, British merchants start using the stock, then what will happen? Loss will happen and Indian traders will suffer. Right? How will Indian traders suffer? Because the Britishers are having free to practice duty-free trade, while the Indian traders have to pay the duty. So they will be at a cost disadvantage position. So he said no, Indians and no one will be having dastak, only the company in some limited scope will exercise dastak. Now this was not done for the English. They said that no, we cannot be treated at par with the Indians. We will resist it. Okay, write this point also. Mir Qasim tried to bring parity PARITY between the Indian and English merchants. The Indian and English merchants on the issue of dastak. On the issue of dastak. This was not to be tolerated by the EIC. Confrontation started. And finally in 1763, Mir Qasim escaped to Awadh. Now what happened there is again very, very interesting. Give the title Battle of Buxar. Mir Qasim tried to form an alliance with the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II Shah Alam II, the Mughal Emperor in Delhi, and Sujauddaulah, the Nawab of Bengal, Awadh. It took Mir Qasim strong persuasion, strong persuasion to convince Shah Alam II. Shuja's support, Awadh. Shuja's support was secured when he was promised Bihar and its treasury and 30 million rupees. At the successful completion of the mission. The sentence. What was the complete sentence? Just read it.
That means Shah Alam II, Shuja's support was secured.
Successful completion of the mission. No, not like that. Shuja's support was secured after he was promised Bihar and its treasury and 30 million rupees post successful completion. Successful completion means if you win the Battle of Buxar, that's it. Mission here is that you win the war. Okay. Who will win? Why? Why the EIC? Superior weapons. That's it. Then why didn't Pakistan win the 71 war? They had Platon tanks from US. Do you know this or not? Pakistan had the American Platon tanks. They lost nowhere except the 1971 war. Americans were more surprised. They started trying to find out what happened, what went wrong with the tanks. Then they realized tanks are all right, the drivers were wrong. Actually, so no, it was not about weapons alone. EIC defeated, likhe. EIC defeated Battle of Buxar, you write the year 1764. EIC defeated the combined Indian side. As this was the Indian side. Write this. An 18th century Indian army with a segmentary approach. What is segmentary approach? Small groups, segments. You remember your high school mathematics, line segments? Line segment is a part of line, right? Two ends. So segmentary approach, one faction is there, the other one is there. On the day of battle, they are coming together. Okay. Was no match. Was no match for a modern English site under a unitary command. What is unitary command? Single command means there is a coherence, right? When there is a unitary command, there is a coherence. Now, if I tell you write point-wise, some other teacher comes and says writes long paragraphs, what will happen to you? You will be confused. There will be no unitary command. This was happening with the Indian side. Point-wise, long para. Everyone had its own version. Here there was only one version. And it came from the top. Everyone was supposed to follow it. Okay. So they had to win. And then comes the weapons and the warfares, military strategies. These things were secondary. This was the primary issue. All of you understood? Change the para. The company treated the Mughal king with respect. Because of his continuing symbolic significance. Why don't you write instead of clicking? Did my clicking? What she said?
Flowchart was very simple, so that's why she took a picture to make.
Better make it. That will help you. Instead of clicking, you should make it. You need to have practice. That's why I am saying.
Sir, so the Bengal province was not under the Mughals. The Bengal province, the Nawab of Bengal, was not under the Mughals
When?
while all this is going on.
What does that mean? It was, of course, under the British. The Nawab tried to defy the British.
I'm talking about the Nawab being under the Mughals.
Yes.
He was under the Mughals. Then how could the East India Company change the Nawabs according to their own will?
Because Nawab was under them. You are yourself answering your question. Who will be Nawab was decided by the EIC.
No, talking about the Mughals. Mughals, sir.
Huh.
I mean, the Nawabs were not under the Mughals, right?
No. It was under the company. See, we have already seen the independent states. Even before this Nawab, who were the earlier Nawabs? Was Alivardi under the Mughals? Practically, not theoretically. He used to send revenues or not? He did. But was he not like an autonomous ruler? So that was then, even since Murshid Quli Khan, right? Alivardi Khan took it a step further. He began the true type of autonomous king, despite sending amounts to the Delhi. Okay. If that was the case, Shah Alam would have approached, instead of Nawab going to Shah Alam, trying to convince him. Shah Alam was, they were, very, very petty characters in Mughal history there. From Bahadur Shah to Bahadur Shah Zafar, hardly any, only Zulfikar and Sayyid brothers, these were the people. That's it. The kings were incapable, inefficient, inept, not worthy of the throne type of people. And Mughal Empire was, damaged beyond repairs. And for that you have to study Aurangzeb and Jahangir. Jahangir to Aurangzeb you have to study for that. The policies post Akbar. Akbar is said to be very great and tolerant. It is because we compare him with his generation, his successors and his forefathers. We compare Babur and Akbar, of course Akbar will be good. You compare Akbar and Aurangzeb, of course Akbar will be better. He is the lesser evil among all. Okay. Aurangzeb was, constantly targeting everyone. He dreamt of that Darul Islam from Darul Harb, a declared objective. Bipin Chandra writes it. Okay, and Bipin Chandra, I am telling you, is taking a very balanced approach. So when he writes such things, imagine what was the real situation. Okay.
Sir, Krishnakant has a question. So,
Very late, it's already 1.5 hours. 1 hour.
so he is asking why did Amir Qasim, is there any specific reason for Amir Qasim not to cancel the dastaks which was issued to the EIC?
Specific reason for Mir Qasim? What is wrong with this question?
There was no reason. The
Mir Qasim tried to cancel the dastak. In fact, he actually cancelled the dastaks. Very large number of dastaks he cancelled. That is why in 1763, I wrote it here, he was escaped. He had to escape to Mughals and Awadhs. He tried to cancel and he actually cancelled a good number of dastaks. Didn't you write that he was at par with, he wanted to make some equity situation between the Indian and the English traders? How could it be done without doing away of dastak? कितना टाइम लग रहा है रिकॉर्ड होने में? हाँ?
50 seconds.
50 seconds. उसके लिए 15 मिनट तो नहीं है. Of course, he tried to cancel the dastaks. That is why he was flued. He was made to force from his own territory, Bengal. English did not like it. Anything else? Questions? No doubts? Right? Now, what happened after this is again very interesting. Treaty of Allahabad 1765 happened. Point number 1, what happened in Treaty of Allahabad? Shah Alam granted the EIC Diwani rights. Diwani, you know, right to collect tax. Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Which was a complete control of the resource rich Bengal. Now you know every country has an ambassador from the other country. Pakistan said that we will call back our ambassador from France. Then they realized they don't have an ambassador in France. Do you know this? Huh? So, when do two countries have ambassadors? When they have full diplomatic relations. Else there will be a consulate general. Right? Then it is upgraded to the full diplomatic level, like India had with Israel. Earlier there was a consulate general in Bombay, then an embassy was opened in Delhi. It's almost 25 years that we are having full diplomatic relations with the state of Israel. Right? So, because of these things, ambassador is there as the representative of the country. Does an ambassador interfere in the domestic affairs? Can any foreign ambassador interfere in India's domestic policy? None. They don't have this right. And do you know that embassies are sovereign territories? All embassies are sovereign territories. Do you understand this? Anyone who can explain? The law of that country operates in the embassy, the law of the home country operates. Like the Pakistani embassy in Delhi, the law of Pakistan applies to that very campus. Indian laws do not apply. It's a foreign land. Okay, similarly the American embassy in Delhi, the American laws will apply. Suppose this is the embassy. So American laws will apply. Indian embassy anywhere in world, Indian laws will apply. It is a sovereign territory. Okay. If a criminal goes and hides in the embassy, then the home country will take a call what to do with the criminal as per their own laws. Mahathir Mohamad, he escaped and hid in the Indian embassy in Malaysia. And now he has become a full-blown jihadi. Zakir Naik has taken refuge in Malaysia, and recently he wrote a series of tweets, Mahathir Mohamad, and he justified that Muslims must kill those. It was in context of France. Imagine the former Prime Minister of Malaysia. Okay. So, now what happened? They will post a British resident. This was a very, clever ploy used by the British. Now, unlike ambassador, who is a resident of his own country, this British resident acted like a sovereign in that territory and regularly used to interfere in the internal affairs of the state. Okay, he would tell the Nawab or the king or the prince, don't do this, do this. I'll decide what you will do. Okay, so the moment EIC or British are posting a British resident in your territory, your sovereignty has been severely compromised. It's like a state within the state. Okay, he will now take all the shots. So write the second point. British resident was posted in Murshidabad. And he became the locus of all the administrative powers. All the administrative powers. An indirect rule by the EIC was brought in Bengal.
Is this a new point or the same?
Same point. So this was brought for the first time in Bengal. Okay, they will rule through their resident now. Within brackets you write for the first time. Shujaud-Dowla, next point. Shujaud-Dowla was forced to pay 5 million rupees. 5 million.
Dhanwantari is gone, sir.
Where gone?
This is Buxar. We should know.
Who is the third person here?
We need Zafar fought it. Sorry, it's Mir Qasim fought it, no? So, get it?
Fought it. It here refers to?
The battle.
And who along with Mir Qasim fought?
Oh, sorry. No, Zafar.
Better be. Shujaud-Dowla was forced to pay 5 million rupees. And a British resident was posted in Lucknow, which means Awadh court. उसके यहाँ भी एक resident दे दिया. British resident was posted in Awadh or Lucknow. Next point. Lucknow is the capital of Awadh. Still the capital of UP. Next, EIC got duty-free trade rights in Awadh. Duty-free trade rights in Awadh. Now, what will be the economic advantage to the company? You can well imagine. Entire Bengal, you see, don't have a map here. You can visualize the map of India, the current map, of course, from Bengal, down Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, Jharkhand, and then Awadh, UP. Now, what is left? Few parts. Now, imagine it is one of the biggest province of India. EIC's share in the administration is less than none. They are ruling over the largest part of territory, right? When they get control of Bengal, they get control of Awadh. Delhi, of course, is there. Mughal Empire is in dwindling, right? So they are now, see the position post Battle of Buxar, the English position post Battle of Buxar. See it on the map, you will know how much strong the company became. And still a private company, the government of Britain is not directly involved. It's a trading company here for solely for the economic benefit, driven by what is called mercantilism. Okay, so this was the benefit, these were the benefits that occurred to the company. Any question here? I hope all of you understood. Now, yes.
Also now Mir Qasim was replacement with Jafar after Battle of Buxar.
Yes, he was, and then Mir Zafar was supposed to do the same things. We'll come to it. Anglo-Mysore Wars.
Sir, there is a question from Krishna Gandhi. He is asking whether there was any British resident in the court of Shah Alam.
No, not in the court of Shah Alam, only in Bengal and Awadh. Shah Alam was actually, Britishers almost had all the kind of privileges in Delhi. Shah Alam was good for nothing, and he was to be given some dignity. So resident was not appointed until now.
The Shah Alam was the last Mughal emperor, or are there any Mughal emperors after Shah?
Bahadur Shah Zafar is the last Mughal emperor. 1764, 1857, almost 100 years. So, lot of Mughals will be born. Okay. Anglo-Mysore Wars. First war 1767-69. Second 1780 to 84. Third 1790 to 92. And fourth 1799. This was the first. This is how it was fought. This is the year. Second 1782 to 80. They changed side. Okay. This was largely a draw. Here Mysore won. Note it down. King, you know who was here? जब चली हैदर की तलवार, हैदर अली. Now third, 92. Now Hyder is gone, Tipu Sultan is here. What happened was Tipu attacked Raja of Travancore. Now he was a British ally. Write this. First two, only this is important. The names, the sides, the years. In the third Anglo means English. Third Anglo-Mysore battle, and again these sides will again change the side. Okay. Alliance of convenience. Tipu, the new ruler, was attacked by Lord Cornwallis. When he attacked the Raja of Travancore, a British ally. When he attacked the Raja of Travancore, a British ally. The Nizam and Marathas sided with the AIC. Where it is, you know? This one. Dindigul, Baramahal and Malabar were taken by the AIC. All were part of Mysore Empire. Mysore Pak, you know? यहाँ मिलता है? Good. Baramahal, Malabar and Dindigul were taken by AIC. अब पता है टीपू सुल्तान के बेटे को भी पकड़ के ले गए थे एज अ सिक्योरिटी. Okay, small child. Now Tipu will seek help from the French. Okay, in the last battle, Tipu will secretly seek help from the French. French will start helping him. That together we will rout the British. Now, after Cornwallis, Lord Wellesley will come, and he will suddenly discover that he is taking help from the French. He will again attack. Now Tipu will die. 1799. Write about it. In 1799, British learnt that Tipu was secretly negotiating with the French he was attacked by Lord Wellesley. Srirangapatnam, how far from here? 5 to 600 kilometers. Srirangapatnam was occupied by the EIC and Tipu was killed. Now, before Hyder Ali, who was ruling in here, Mysore, Wudayar dynasty, they were Hindus. Hyder was a Muslim. Now he dethroned the Wudayar dynasty. What British did? They brought back the Wudayar dynasty. Okay, they were saying that, see, Hindus, we are bringing back your king against the Muslim rulers. And Tipu again, you go to Sringapatnam, there is a museum, the sword of Tipu Sultan is kept. Read the verses on it. He was no less than Aurangzeb, 100% sure. He fought British to keep his empire, not for the welfare of people. Okay, now Wudayar dynasty was brought back by the EIC, and then subsidiary alliance happened. Now, what is subsidiary alliance? We shall discover very soon. First, you write this. The Wudayar dynasty रुक जाओ.
There's one question from Priyanka. She's asking what is the difference between bar and pattern.
Are we live? No? Live है? अरे I thought I thought you said we need to stop. What Priyanka is asking? The difference between a war and a battle. Priyanka, war consists of several battles. When you fight one day, it's a battle. When you keep fighting one day, next day, next to next day, that is a war. That's it.
And in the third battle of Krishna Gandhi is asking this question. In the third battle of in the third Anglo-Mysore War, did the Marathas and Nizam participate?
Third,
Third.
of course, they sided with the EIC. In fact, Nizam got half. You can write this. The Nizam got. Wudya dynasty became the next rulers. They were placed under a subsidiary alliance, right? The Nizam got a large share of Mysore's province. Okay.
There is a follow-up question. He's asking, did the French help?
No, French could not. I have told this yesterday also, I'll again tell it. French were helping Tipu with, supposedly Tipu was having some rockets. Have you seen those rockets? They are kept there. They are kept in Mysore and Srirangapatnam, I guess. They were? Yes, they were in the news. So, French were helping Tipu to modernize the army just like the Europeans. They were giving regular supplies, trying to train the soldiers. Now, the moment Wellesley came to know about it, he attacked. Now, the only thing the French could do was to come and help Tipu. They tried, but they were stopped in the sea itself. They could not reach the Third Anglo-Mysore War to help their friend Tipu Sultan. French could not help Tipu. Nizam and Marathas again changed sides. He was defeated. His son was taken as a collateral. Okay.
Two more follow-up questions, sir. Who was Hyder Ali?
Hyder Ali was one of the generals, a very low-ranking general in the Wudya dynasty, who finally became the ruler by kind of kicking out the Wudyas.
Also, in the fourth Anglo-Mysore War, did the Marathas and Nizam participated in that?
Yes, they did. They provided logistic supports to the EIC. Not that they directly sent troops, because Wellesley knew that this is the final one. We can take care of it. Some small troops somewhere in the battle formation, when the forces were mobilizing, the Marathas and Nizams were also there. Not the major. Okay. So this is how Mysore fell. Nizam got a large chunk of Mysore's territory, which he was eyeing it ever since Hyder Ali was there. So he got what he wanted. Now he will be also taken care of very soon. Now we have used the term subsidiary alliance. Let us write what is subsidiary alliance. British always followed the policy of getting economic gains and favors. They went for territorial annexation territorial annexation only when it was beneficial and unavoidable. Only when it was beneficial and unavoidable. Lord Wellesley realized that the two strong powers, the two strong Indian powers, Marathas and Mysore, have become a shadow of their past. Within brackets you write by 1797. He also realized, he means Wellesley, he also realized that the time was ripe, the correct time now, okay? Time was ripe for bringing most of the Indian states under the British control. He used the tool of subsidiary alliance to achieve this majorly. Achieve this objective majorly. Matlab, he did not went for outright wars. Mostly he relied on the policy of subsidiary alliance. Wellesley mastered it actually. Subsidiary alliance, under subsidiary alliance, the ruler of an Indian state an Indian state was compelled to allow a British resident along with permanent stationing of British troops at the ruler's expense. चाय पानी का खर्चा उनके रूलर को उठाना है. This was done on the pretext of protecting the state, हम तुम्हारी रक्षा करेंगे. On the pretext of protecting the state, but in reality the Indian ruler was paying, the Indian ruler was paying tributes to the company. He could not employ any European into the state. He could not employ any European into the state. And he could not decide on how to negotiate war or friendship with other Indian states. Without the permission of the British. Change the para. Through subsidiary alliance, the British could establish control over the internal affairs of the state. And this was achieved, it was achieved for the British. This was achieved without incurring INCURRING. Incurring means paying, yes, costing. Without incurring any imperial liability. Imperial liability, which means Britishers are not liable for anything there. Okay, they will just have a tax holiday type of thing when they are doing trade. They will meddle freely within the internal affairs of the state. Their British resident will keep on poking his nose in everything that the local government is up to. He will make sure that he does not negotiate with any Indian without his permission, any other Indian state. He will make sure that he cannot employ any rival Europeans into his policy. Like Tipu was trying to get support from French. Cannot do that. So all the benefits were for the British. There was no liability at all. If they become direct rulers, at least basic necessities will be provided by them. Food, shelter, water, some kind of infrastructure, farming facility. The ruler has to do all these things. This was actually, very, very great thing for the Imperial British. Understood? No questions? Read and see if you have any doubts anywhere. Anyone from the online ones? How many? 4 or 5?
Till now, whenever we have mentioned British, it's actually company, right?
Yes. No, it is the company.
I mean, whenever we have mentioned British resident, is it a company resident or?
Of course, every soldier, every resident, every bureaucrat is from the company.
I mean, even though they were British, but then okay, formally it is the company resident.
See, there was no difference. Company was a part of the British Empire itself. There were other companies from the British also, but the English East India Company was the one which captured India, gave it on a platter to the crown after 1857 revolt. So all of them were employees of company, but in some capacity they were related with the British government also.
I mean, formally, if we have to say, I mean, informally, the entire thing was British.
No, there is nothing called formally or informally. British East India Company, I told this, I guess, in the first class.
They were the only ones who had the right to trade with India. So,
Why so?
so because of the charter, so essentially they were.
Why the charter was given by the Queen? Let him answer.
So because most of the MPs were the stakeholders in.
Then, aren't they a homogeneous entity? Aren't they mixed? Right? One and the same thing. Yes, company is calling all the shots in capacity of a private entity. But then this private entity has shareholders which has people from British Parliament. That's it. Now 1857 revolt will happen, then Crown will realize, oh my god, we can lose India. They will come here and say, now we will give you good governance. The Secretary of State will be established. Viceroy's Executive Council will be established. Okay, these things will happen later. Company is doing everything, why to worry? Company is filling the coffers of the British Parliament also. Regularly sending tributes to the Queen. Why she needs to worry? Okay. Any question from there? See if any line you do not understand. Yeah.
After the Battle of Buxar, the Mughal king was treated with respect. So was he given his kingdom back?
He hardly had a kingdom.
But still,
Yeah, where he was still there.
but under the rule of
Of course, under the command of AIC. He was cut to size even more, but with dignity. Now write about the Pitt's India Act.
Sir, there's a question from Mr. Gandhi asking, was the Mysore first under the alliance? It is talking about the subsidiary.
It was under the Wadiyar dynasty. Hyder Ali became the king, dethroning the dynasty. Britishers defeated Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, brought Wadiyar dynasty back, placed it under subsidiary alliance. Can you use the? Yeah. Why need my permission? Feel free to use it, all of you. You want to eat, drink, sleep, you can. Have no issues.
I have to change batteries.
इसमें क्या ब्रेक नहीं लेते हैं? ओके या ओके ब्रेक.
Mr. Gandhi has a follow-up question. He's asking, were there any kingdoms before the Mysore under it? Maybe under the British with an alliance.
Vidya,
And with an alliance.
I did not understand.
He's asking, were there any kingdoms before the Mysore under British as an alliance?
As in?
Maybe subsidiary alliance.
No. We'll see subsidiary alliance. Wait. We have not covered subsidiary alliance.